This is Bonechillers to disturb your dreams. Dare to join us? Click subscribe, ring the bell. But remember, we cannot guarantee your safety from the nightmares that await. Prepare to be thrilled, chilled, and filled with a sense of dread you'll find nowhere else. Welcome to the darkness. We've been waiting.
The unseen tenant. Emily was a single mother struggling to make ends meet. After a long search, she finally found an affordable apartment in a quiet neighborhood. The moment she stepped into the cozy apartment, she felt a sense of relief wash over her. It was perfect for her and her young daughter, Lily. As they settled into their new home, everything seemed ordinary. The neighbors were friendly, and the apartment exuded a comforting warmth. But little did they know an unseen tenant already resided within those walls. It started with subtle hints, a flickering light, doors creaking open on their own, and an occasional cold breeze that sent shivers down Emily's spine. She brushed them off as mere coincidences, attributing them to an old building's quirks. However, Lily, with her innocent eyes, noticed something that her mother couldn't comprehend. "Mama, there's a shadow in my room," Lily whispered one night, clutching her teddy bear tightly. Emily's heart skipped a beat. She checked Lily's room, but there was nothing out of the ordinary. "It's just your imagination, sweetie. There's nothing to be afraid of." But as the days went by, strange occurrences escalated. Toys would move on their own, voices whispered from unseen corners, and Lily would wake up with fresh scratches on her arms. Emily couldn't dismiss the unsettling feeling that something was terribly wrong. One night, Emily awoke to Lily's blood-curdling scream. She rushed to her daughter's room and found her huddled in the corner, terror etched on her face. "It's here, Mama! The shadow touched me!" Lily cried, pointing at the empty space beside her bed. Fear consumed Emily as she tried to comfort her child. The apartment felt heavy, as if an invisible, malevolent force lurked within its walls. Determined to protect Lily, Emily decided to take matters into her own hands. She began researching the history of the building and discovered a tragic past. The previous tenant, a disturbed man, had taken his own life within those very walls. Emily couldn't help but wonder if his troubled spirit still haunted the apartment, tormenting them. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Emily sought help from a spiritual medium named Dr. Michelson. Skeptical yet desperate, she invited him to their home. As soon as Dr. Michelson stepped foot inside, he sensed a dark presence lurking in the shadows. "There's a malevolent entity here," he revealed, his voice quivering with trepidation. "It seems to have attached itself to Lily. We must perform a cleansing ritual to remove it." Together, they conducted the ritual, chanting ancient incantations and burning sage to purify the apartment. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy, and a chilling wind swept through the rooms. Emily's heart pounded as she witnessed her daughter's fear slowly dissipating. Days turned into weeks, and the apartment regained its peaceful ambience. Lily's laughter echoed through the halls once more, a sound that brought solace to Emily's weary heart. But just as they began to believe they were free from the unseen tenant, an unexpected visitor appeared at their door. It was an elderly woman, her eyes filled with sorrow. "I used to live in this apartment long ago," she murmured, her voice quivering. "The shadow, it haunted me, tormented me until I couldn't bear it any longer." Emily's blood ran cold. "But we performed a cleansing ritual. We thought it was gone." The old woman shook her head. "It can never truly be banished. It's relentless, always seeking new victims." Emily's heart sank. She realized that the battle against the unseen tenant was far from over. She had to protect Lily at all costs. Days turned into sleepless nights as Emily kept a watchful eye over her daughter. Shadows danced on the walls and eerie whispers echoed in the darkness. The malevolent force grew stronger, desperate to claim Lily as its own. But Emily refused to surrender. She barricaded the doors and windows, surrounded Lily's bed with protective symbols, and recited ancient prayers of protection. She became a fierce guardian, shielding her child from the unseen horrors that threatened their very existence. In the end, it was love's unwavering strength that triumphed over the darkness. Emily's determination to protect Lily created a barrier that the unseen tenant could not breach. Slowly but surely, the apartment regained its tranquility, and the malevolent force faded into the forgotten shadows. Years later, as Lily grew into a young woman, she asked her mother about their haunted past. Emily smiled and embraced her daughter. "We faced something truly terrifying, my love," she said softly. "But our love for each other was stronger. It protected us and banished the darkness." And as they gazed at the cozy apartment that had once been a battleground, they shared a bond that could never be broken, a testament to their resilience in the face of the unseen tenant.
The demonic auction. The Matthews family was overjoyed when they won the bid for the old Victorian house at the estate auction. The dilapidated mansion had a certain allure despite its disheveled appearance. Unbeknownst to them, the previous owner, a man named Victor Crowley, had dabbled in the dark arts, leaving behind a legacy that would torment the Matthews for eternity. As they settled into their new home, the Matthews found themselves captivated by the house's eerie charm. The creaking floors and whispering winds seemed to add character to the place, but they were unaware of the sinister forces that lay dormant within. On the first night, as the family gathered in the living room, a chilling breeze swept through the house. The temperature plummeted and shadows danced menacingly along the walls. In the corner of the room, a mirror cracked spontaneously, startling the family. Their unease grew, but they dismissed it as a mere coincidence. As the days passed, strange occurrences became the norm. Unexplained whispers echoed through empty hallways, and a foul stench permeated the air. The children, Sarah and Michael, complained of nightmares, of being pursued by grotesque creatures through twisted landscapes. The house had become a portal to hell itself. Desperate for answers, the family delved into the history of the house. They discovered Victor Crowley's morbid fascination with the occult and his involvement in demonic rituals. The chilling realization dawned on them. Their new home was a gateway, a conduit for malevolent forces. One fateful evening, a knock echoed at their front door. The family opened it hesitantly, finding a strange man with a twisted grin standing on their doorstep. His eyes glimmered with a sinister glow, and his voice dripped with malice as he introduced himself as Lucius, the demon broker. Lucius informed them that they were unwitting participants in a nightmarish auction of the damned. Their souls were now highly sought after by demonic entities from the depths of hell. The price of escape was a hefty one, for the infernal bidders desired their eternal servitude. As the Matthews family recoiled in horror, Lucius revealed a twisted hall adjacent to their home. Within its dark confines lay a spectral gathering of otherworldly creatures bidding for their souls. Demonic entities of various forms, from horned beasts to spectral phantoms, jeered and hissed as the bidding began. The family had no choice but to confront the demons, seeking a way to break free from their nefarious grasp. They traversed the haunted hallways, desperately seeking an escape route from this terrifying nightmare. Days turned into weeks as the Matthews family fought against their demonic captors. The relentless onslaught of nightmares and visions took a toll on their sanity, pushing them to the brink of despair. But hope flickered like a dying candle in the darkness. One night, as the demonic auction reached its climax, the family stumbled upon an ancient tome hidden within Victor Crowley's secret study. It contained an incantation, a desperate plea to banish the malevolent forces and close the gateway to hell. With trembling hands, they recited the incantation, their voices strained with fear and determination. As the words left their lips, the house shook violently, as if fighting against their escape. Walls cracked, windows shattered, and the demonic entities shrieked in agony. In one final surge of energy, the Matthews family completed the incantation, and the house was engulfed in blinding light. When the brilliance subsided, they found themselves standing outside the house, their once pristine Victorian mansion now a smouldering ruin. The demonic auction had come to an end, and the Matthews family had paid the ultimate price to reclaim their freedom. They vowed never to forget the horrors they endured and to warn others of the malevolent forces that lay hidden within the seemingly innocent relics of the past. As the sun rose on the horizon, the family walked away from the ruins, their hearts heavy with the weight of their ordeal. The echoes of their harrowing tale would forever linger in their minds, a reminder that darkness lurks in the most unexpected places, waiting to ensnare the souls of the unsuspecting.
The mirror's reflection. It was a quaint old house nestled in a small, forgotten town. The Smith family had just moved in, excited to start a new chapter in their lives. As they unpacked their belongings, they stumbled upon a dusty, ornate mirror in the attic. Intrigued by its beauty, they decided to hang it in the living room, unaware of the horrors it would unleash. At first, the mirror seemed harmless. The family admired their reflections, laughing at the distorted images it occasionally produced. But soon they noticed subtle differences. Mrs. Smith's reflection would wear a sorrowful expression, and Mr. Smith's would bear a malicious grin. The children, Emma and Thomas, saw their reflections with vacant eyes, as if their souls had been drained away. As days turned into weeks, the mirror grew more unsettling. The family began to see distorted glimpses of their lives within its reflection. Mr. Smith saw himself at work, but his co-workers wore twisted smiles, their eyes empty voids. Mrs. Smith caught sight of herself in the mirror, weeping uncontrollably, surrounded by shadows that lurked just beyond her vision. The children witnessed themselves running through a desolate landscape, chased by unseen horrors. Nightmares plagued their sleep. Mrs. Smith would wake, drenched in sweat, and swear she heard faint whispers emanating from the mirror. The children refused to enter the living room, claiming they could hear muffled screams begging for release. Mr. Smith, desperate to restore tranquility to his family, decided to cover the mirror with a sheet, hoping it would banish their torment. But the sheet proved futile. The mirror's power could not be contained. It seeped through the fabric, whispering into their minds, mocking their feeble attempts to escape. Shadows danced within the corners of their vision, growing more solid with each passing day. One evening, as the family gathered around the dinner table, a sound echoed through the house. It was the mirror, crying out in a haunting melody. Its voice was a cacophony of despair and torment, its siren song luring them closer. Against their better judgment, they approached the living room, drawn to the mirror's twisted call. As they peered into the mirror, their reflections contorted into monstrous forms. Mrs. Smith's face sagged, her skin withered and rotting. Mr. Smith's grin widened, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. Emma and Thomas stood beside their distorted selves, their eyes hollow and black as the void. Terrified, they tried to turn away, but their reflections held them captive. The mirror's surface rippled like water, and the family was pulled inside, their bodies merging with their monstrous counterparts. They were trapped within the twisted reflection, condemned to an existence of eternal suffering. Their physical bodies remained in the living room, lifeless shells animated only by the mirror's malevolent power. The townsfolk grew suspicious, sensing an unholy presence within the house. But they dared not enter, for they could hear the mirror's eerie whispers beckoning them to their doom. Years passed, and the Smith family's home fell into ruin. The mirror remained, its power growing stronger with each passing generation. Some brave souls ventured inside, seeking to uncover the truth, only to become trapped in the mirror's dark embrace. To this day, the house stands as a sinister monument to the mirror's reign of terror. Locals speak in hushed tones, warning others to avoid the cursed place. But there are always those who are drawn to the macabre, enticed by the lure of the unknown. They approach the house with trepidation, the mirror's whispers haunting their dreams, ready to claim their souls. And so, the mirror waits, its reflections forever twisted and its hunger never sated. Its dark power lingers, an eternal reminder of the horrors that lie within, eager to ensnare those who dare to glimpse their own reflections.
The suburban nightmare. In the heart of Crestwood Hills, a seemingly idyllic suburban neighborhood, families lived harmoniously within the confines of white picket fences and perfectly manicured lawns. It was the epitome of tranquility, where children played freely and residents gathered for neighborhood barbecues. But beneath the facade of this picture-perfect community, a darkness loomed, waiting to unleash its horrors upon the unsuspecting residents. It began with whispers, rumors whispered between hushed conversations and worried glances. Families started disappearing without a trace, leaving behind empty houses and unanswered questions. The Bradleys, known for their laughter-filled parties, vanished one night without saying goodbye. The Martins, a young couple with a newborn, were gone, leaving baby clothes and half-finished bottles behind. Fear gripped the remaining residents as they realized something sinister lurked in their midst. The usually cheerful streets turned eerie, and a sense of unease settled over Crestwood Hills. Neighbors started locking their doors, drawing their curtains tightly shut, and casting wary glances at one another. It became a neighborhood of shadows, where whispers echoed through the darkness and paranoia tainted every interaction. Amidst the mounting fear, a group of brave residents gathered, determined to uncover the truth and put an end to the suburban nightmare. Jack Collins, a retired detective, led the investigation. His experience and keen eye for detail made him an invaluable asset in their quest for answers. The first clue presented itself when Sarah Anderson, a single mother and resident of Crestwood Hills, stumbled upon an old journal in her basement. It belonged to a previous homeowner who had left years ago. The journal contained cryptic writings filled with warnings about the darkness that resided within the neighborhood. It spoke of a cursed land where once you set foot, you were forever trapped, destined to become a prisoner of the insidious force that thrived on fear. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Jack and his team began scouring the neighborhood, seeking hidden secrets and connecting the dots that led to the disappearances. They discovered a hidden network of underground tunnels, long forgotten and overgrown with vines. The tunnels seemed to snake beneath every house, connecting them all in a sinister web. As they ventured deeper into the subterranean labyrinth, the horrors unfolded before their eyes. The missing families were not merely gone, they were trapped in a nightmarish realm, a distorted reflection of their once peaceful lives. They wandered aimlessly, their eyes devoid of life, their bodies mere vessels for the darkness that consumed them. The residents fought against the despair that threatened to consume them. They confronted the ancient evil that lay dormant beneath their homes, using their collective strength and unwavering determination to banish it from their lives forever. With each step, they faced grotesque apparitions, distorted versions of their friends and loved ones, taunting and tormenting them with their twisted visages. Finally, they reached the heart of the nightmare, a chamber where the darkness thrived. A towering figure, a manifestation of all the fear and anguish that had plagued the neighborhood, emerged before them. Its malevolent gaze fixed upon them, sensing their resistance and desperate will to survive. In a battle that blurred the boundaries between reality and nightmare, Jack and his team fought against the embodiment of terror itself. They wielded their courage like a weapon, driving back the darkness with each strike, refusing to succumb to its suffocating grip. Their resilience prevailed, and the evil force was banished from Crestwood Hills. The missing families returned, their vacant eyes now filled with gratitude and relief. The nightmare was over, but the scars it left behind were a constant reminder of the horrors they had faced. Crestwood Hills slowly healed, though its once untarnished facade was forever marred. The neighbors, forever bonded by their shared ordeal, grew closer, their interactions carrying a deeper sense of trust and resilience. They knew that the world could be a dark and unforgiving place, even within the confines of their suburban haven, and so the story of the suburban nightmare became a whispered legend, a cautionary tale passed down through generations. Crestwood Hills remained a quiet place, but its residents never forgot the darkness that lurked beneath their seemingly perfect neighborhood. They stood united, forever watchful, protecting their sanctuary from the encroaching shadows that threatened to consume them once again. The Vanishing House. Emily and Mark couldn't believe their luck when they stumbled upon the old Victorian mansion nestled in the heart of the countryside. Its elegant facade, adorned with ornate carvings and towering turrets, promised a lifetime of grandeur. It seemed like the perfect dream home. With wide-eyed excitement, the couple moved into the mansion, eager to start their new life. The creaking floorboards and dimly lit hallways whispered tales of forgotten secrets and hidden passages, but little did they know that the mansion held something far more sinister than they could ever imagine. As the days turned into weeks, Emily and Mark settled into their newfound abode. They reveled in the lavishness of the rooms, the intricate details, and the rich history that surrounded them. But one evening, while exploring the second floor, they noticed something peculiar, a door that hadn't been there before. Intrigued and slightly unnerved, they cautiously pushed open the door, revealing a small, cramped space that appeared to be a study. The room emanated an unsettling aura, with dusty books and aged manuscripts strewn across the floor. It was a room that time had forgotten. Brushing off their unease, they decided to leave the room be and continued with their lives. But that night, as they lay in bed, the couple heard a distant whisper drifting through the hallways. It was an ethereal voice, barely audible, yet it carried a chilling undertone that made their skin crawl. Days turned into weeks, and the house became more than a home. It became a living entity that fed off their fear. Doors would vanish, leaving behind solid walls that defied explanation. Windows would disappear, replaced by sheer emptiness. Rooms would fold into themselves, shrinking away into nothingness. Emily and Mark found themselves trapped within their own house, with no escape in sight. Panic set in as the mansion's malevolent force reveled in their terror, growing stronger with each passing day. They were mere pawns in a sinister game, and the house was the puppet master. As the house devoured room after room, Emily and Mark clung to each other, desperate to find a way out. They navigated the shrinking hallways, their footsteps echoing hollowly as they ventured deeper into the heart of the mansion. But with each step the air grew colder, and the darkness seemed to seep into their very souls. Their love, once an unbreakable bond, began to fray under the weight of the house's relentless torment. Paranoia gnawed at their minds, turning their once blissful union into a battlefield of doubt and suspicion. Then, on the darkest night, when hope was all but extinguished, Emily stumbled upon a hidden passage. A glimmer of salvation flickered in her eyes as she called out to Mark, her voice filled with desperate anticipation. With renewed determination, they pressed forward, inching closer to the promise of freedom. But the house fought back, its malevolent force lashing out in a final attempt to keep them imprisoned. The walls closed in, squeezing the life out of their hopes, while whispers of the house's ancient secrets echoed through the labyrinthine corridors. Just as their strength waned, they burst through the last hidden door, emerging into a moonlit garden bathed in eerie tranquility. The oppressive presence of the house fell away, and they breathed a sigh of relief, their faces drenched in tears of joy. But as they turned to look back, the mansion stood empty, its ghostly silhouette fading into the night. The vanishing house had claimed its final victims, leaving behind only an echo of their terrified screams. As years passed, the legend of the vanishing house persisted. Some said it was a malevolent spirit, forever hungry for the fear it had devoured. Others claimed it was a portal to another realm, where nightmares took form. But one thing was certain: the house remained an ominous reminder that dreams could turn into nightmares, and even the most perfect facade could hide unimaginable horrors.
Thank you for watching, and remember, the darkness awaits. Until our paths cross again, stay fearful and stay subscribed.